Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the Accessible Reading Symposium. My name is Megan Selmer, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator at the National Network for Equitable Library Service, or NELS. This is a virtual two-day bilingual event designed to help library staff and readers with print disabilities learn about accessible reading in Canada. This symposium is organized by the Bibliothèque et Archives Nationales du Québec, BANQ, the Center for Equitable Library Access, CELA, and NELS, the National Network for Equitable Library Service. This is the day one English session for user demonstrations. User demonstrations will showcase how readers with print disabilities can use various accessible reading tools, formats, and technologies in their daily lives. This event is possible thanks to the support from the Government of Canada's Equitable Access to Reading program. We will begin with a Canada-wide land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the historical oppression of land, culture, and Original peoples in what we now know as Canada. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across this land, and we will continue to honor the commitment to self-determination and sovereignty we have made to Indigenous nations and peoples. Please take a moment to acknowledge the lands on which you live, work, and play. Thank you. Now let's begin with the user demonstration session. First up, we have Simon.
All right, thank you, Megan. So my name is Simon. I am one of the accessibility experts at NELS, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I interact with audiobooks compared to ebooks, because the ebooks part of that in particular is a little bit unconventional. So some relevant context here is that I was born completely blind, and that changes the way that I interact with technology significantly. I use screen readers, which are pieces of software that are either built into the computer or device or installable separately that narrate everything on the screen out loud with gestures and keyboard shortcuts to navigate. I mostly read ebooks using either specialized or just accessible reading apps. The one that I use most often for ebooks is called Voice Dream Reader. It's an iOS and macOS app that can read all kinds of book formats. I also use an app called Book Player, which is free and not specifically for assistive technology users. It just happens to work well for me and I like it. And these have a lot of different features. But first I want to talk about the speech synthesizers that people might use. Speech synthesizers come in many forms. They're just pieces of software that turn text into audible speech. And there are all kinds, from the more robotic ones of the early days of computers to the human-sounding ones. Here's a recording of a more robotic-sounding speech synthesizer.
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much.
I've used that speech synthesizer, called Eloquence, for about 25 years now, as long as I've used computers. This is the voice of my technology, my computer, my TV, my phone, my watch. I hear it all of the time, reading basically everything to me, and its strength is not that it sounds good necessarily, but that it goes quickly. Let's listen to that sped up a little bit.
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much.
And a little
Mr.
bit
and
more.
Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much.
Let's do one more.
Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much.
You might notice that your brain was starting to just auto-complete the sentence, even if you don't think you should have been able to understand the words at that point. That's intentional. These synthesizers are made to be very responsive. When I press a key or touch something, it responds instantly, and it goes quickly. This one isn't being developed anymore, but I still use it, and I still prefer it over just about anything else. So when I read ebooks, there are a few features that are relevant here. Most screen readers have a command to read to the end of whatever text might be shown, whether it's a document or a web page. So when I'm in an ebook, I can just press that command and read to the end of the document. Or maybe the ebook reading app has a read aloud feature, VoiceStream does, and it can use the same voice. So it's essentially possible for me to treat it like an audiobook. I can use my headset to control playback, I can rewind, and I can just sit there while the voice reads to me. I don't really think of this as an artificial voice anymore when I'm reading a book. I just think of it as a sort of input device, getting words into my brain as quickly as I can understand them. And because I've used it for so long, I have learned to understand it as quickly as that last example. This isn't universal to blind people, particularly when reading books. Some people really hate reading with synthetic speech. But personally, I prefer it. And this is an advantage because ebooks are very widely available. Some books were never produced as audio, and ebooks I find are a lot more flexible. I can read with a Braille device as well, so if I want to use either the Braille device or my screen reader to look at how words are spelled, I can do that, and then I can write a review or text my friends about it without misspelling the names of the book. It actually took me a very long time to start reading audiobooks. I think one notable example, other than having books on tape when I was a child, one notable example of where I picked the audiobook was the Iron Druid series by Kevin Hearn, which has a lot of non-English words in Old Irish and whatnot. What really brings a book, what makes me want to read an audiobook is the narrator being good, not necessarily just the mere fact that it's an audiobook. Audiobooks are also really good to read with a friend or partner, and I'm really loving some of the full cast audio productions that are coming out these days. So I certainly do like them in some cases. Some people strongly prefer them over ebooks, but I do need to be more selective about when I read them. There are some disadvantages to ebooks, and some of these don't necessarily get solved by audiobooks, but some of them do. A lot of ebooks don't have page numbers, so if I'm trying to use them academically and cite what I'm doing, it's very hard to find the exact spot in the book where I'm referencing. One of the big disadvantages is that a lot of ebook platforms use what's called DRM, digital rights management, and that is specifically to block you from reading the book outside of the specific app that you're in. And that means that those apps need to be fully accessible with screen reading software. And that isn't always true. Kindle has a long history of breaking accessibility and then not really acknowledging or fixing that for a long time. And there are situations like Libby, for instance, where they prevent you from using text-to-speech unless you are a screen reader user. And there are, of course, many times when somebody might want to use text-to-speech to read, even if they don't rely on a screen reader to use all of their technology. But if the book platform blocks you from using those accessibility features, then you just can't get the book outside of the app. Some books are also only available in inaccessible formats. A lot of PDF files, for instance, tend to not be all that usable unless they're tagged properly. And some of them will have images of text instead of the text itself, which also makes it impossible to read with a screen reader. There are some disadvantages to audiobooks, of course, which I kind of mentioned. There's also no text search in audiobooks, so if I'm trying to find something that happened 200 pages ago and I remember the approximate sentence, I can't go back and look for it. And that's very bad in an academic context as well. There are often metadata like images or charts or tables that aren't properly described in commercial audiobooks in particular. It's pretty common now to get an audiobook on Audible and have a PDF that comes with it, and that PDF may or may not be usable. And of course, some books just never were produced in audio in the first place, so if you're relying on that, then you can't get the book. There are also a lot of audiobooks coming out these days that are being narrated by AI voices, the more human-sounding speech synthesizers that I've talked about, and I don't personally use those, and I don't know many people who do. I think a lot of people prefer to read using the voice that they've already gotten used to, whatever that might be, rather than reading with a voice that is essentially trying to trick you into thinking that it's a human. These are my personal experiences. These are not everybody's personal experiences and preferences, and they will vary a lot. And we live in a time when both formats are very widely available. We have high-speed internet and can get just about any commercial audiobook that has been produced recently. And the important part is to make the platforms that provide those books accessible so that as many people as possible can use them. Thanks for listening, and I'm going to pass this to Deanna.
Hi, my name is Deanna, and I am an accessibility expert with NELS. I enjoy reading books on a variety of platforms, including the NELS catalog, which I'm on, along with Project Gutenberg and my local library. I enjoy reading books on my devices, which include my Windows PC, iOS, and Android. Because I have low vision, I use a variety of screen readers and magnifiers for each device. I enjoy my primary setup being Windows with Windows Magnifier along with Windows Narrator for long-form reading. Accessibility options that I use are Windows Magnifier,
Magnifier window, zoom out, button.
and Windows Narrator.
Narrator window heading level 1. Welcome to Narrator. This is Narrator Home, where you can get help, access your settings, and learn about new features.
My favorite platform for ebooks is Easy Reader.
Easy Reader, 1 of 2, selected.
For audiobooks, my favorite platform is Windows Media Player.
Windows Media Player, selected.
I enjoy these apps because they are free or available online. Windows Magnifier enlarges the entire screen. This makes the focus narrow. This is cumbersome, especially with the narrow point of view. This causes me to need to use the mouse to get perspective. This is where my screen reader comes in.
National Network for Equitable Library Service, heading level 1. The Canadian Accessible Library System search the NELS collection, contains style. Looking for a book, heading level 1.
I enjoy using Easy Reader to read ebooks. This is because of its numerous accessibility features for both low vision users and screen reader users. I find it helpful being able to sideload files into my library. I like how magnification makes it easy to see reading controls.
Login, button. Search, button. Edit. Open in Reader, button. Sort, button. Switch to grid view, button. Easy Reader help, button. My books, selected.
I will open my library.
By, progress 1%, duration, format EPUB, library imported book on this device. Press enter to open in Reader. Press Shift plus F10 for more options, selected.
I will open the ebook.
They do things differently there.
I like how I can read the reading controls and see them with magnifier.
Previous, book default, next, book default, navigation settings, button. My books, button. Hide book navigation, button. Search, button. Text settings, button. Audio settings, button. Book options, button.
It is helpful being able to use the table of contents.
Headings tab item. Copyright. Contents. Introduction.
It is helpful being able to read the book text.
The past is a foreign country, selected. They do things differently there, selected. LP Hartley.
I like this app because it has numerous accessibility adjustments for both low vision users and screen reader users.
Text settings, button.
In text settings, there are numerous adjustments. This includes options for text, margins, spacing, color, and theme. I will set the ones that are most relevant for me. I will adjust text.
Text settings, button. Text size, slider at 170%. Text size, 170%. Margins, slider at 6%. Line spacing, slider at 125%. Letter spacing, slider at 1 pt. Show image description checkbox unchecked. Center highlight checkbox unchecked. Lines visible, edit, read only, all. Lines visible, button. Font, edit, read only, Arial. Fonts, button.
I will adjust fonts.
Context, menu. Books default font, menu item.
In font, I will adjust to a sans serif font.
Books default, menu item, open dyslexic. Times, tire size info, open sans, menu item.
I have selected Open Sans. In theme,
Theme, button.
I will select Night.
Theme, night, menu item.
There are numerous other accessibility adjustments in Easy Reader.
Text settings, audio setting, book options, context, menu. Switch to text view, menu item, sleep timer, where am I, menu item, easy reader help, menu item.
And there are numerous navigation settings.
Navigation settings, button. Simple navigation layout checkbox checked. Navigation mode, set progress bar as, show position for, current page.
These are just a few things that I enjoy about Easy Reader. For audiobooks, I use Windows Media Player. Even though the controls are very simple and it relies on File Explorer to go to the next file, the controls are large enough to use with magnifier.
SV close player group, SV track time, SV rewind seek FFWD. Exit full screen group, exit full screen mode, button. SV track time group, SV rewind seek FFWD group, seek, slider at 0. Shuffle group, turn shuffle off, button. Repeat group, turn repeat on, button. Transport button group, stop, button. Play, button. Next, button. Transport mute group, mute, button. Volume, slider at 10. Exit full screen mode, button. SV track time group, current position, edit, read only. SV rewind seek FFWD group, seek, slider at 0.
The Last Sweet Bite. Stories and recipes of culinary heritage lost and found. This is the author, Michael Shake.
To go to the next track, I will exit full screen.
The Last Sweet Bite 9798217.
The drawback from Windows Media Player is that it requires File Explorer to go to the next track. This is an older program, but it is very simple if you enjoy simple controls.
The Last Sweet Bite 9798217083473 part 02, selected.
For my parents, my successes are all yours, the mistakes all mine.
Now playing window. Turn repeat off, button.
The apps in this demonstration are either free of charge or easy to get online, and they are enjoyable to read books. Thank you for watching this demonstration.
Thank you, Deanna. Next up, we have Awana.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So I will be talking to you today about another way of reading books audibly. As you can already see, there are options for everyone, but this one is a specifically designed player with accessibility in mind. It is actually produced here in Canada. It's a Quebec-based company, Humanware. There are a number of special features that you only find in devices that are specifically built for people with print disabilities, and that is that they play formats such as DAISY format, and this is a format that allows you to take advantage of features that you've seen in previous demos, such as a table of contents. You can add bookmarks, jump from section to section, view the structure of the book, and so on. There are various form factors of such devices. There is one that is a tabletop, and this is the one that I will be demonstrating later. This is called the Stratus. You can connect it to the internet, but you can also have a CD inserted if you so wish, or the newer ones have different ways to to store media on them. The same company, Humanware, makes a smaller version, which is portable. It's kind of the size of a cordless phone. That is called the Victor Stream. And there are also other options, such as the Envoy Connect, that I will not be discussing today, but it is another portable option that is less feature-rich, but also much more low-cost as compared to the more advanced Victor Reader devices. So, without further ado, let's watch the Victor Stratus in action.
Turn on the player by pressing and holding down the circular power key at the right-hand side of your device. Wait a few seconds and your player will start.
Welcome to Victor Reader.
I will now pause the player.
In a society where people can no longer connected to Wi-Fi.
Your player will then begin downloading books and magazines on your player. This could take between 5 and 30 minutes. To find books and magazines on your bookshelf, press the bookshelf key, which is a square button on the left side of the player.
Bookshelf.
CEL, a directed player.
17. Books. 16.
Truth telling. 7 conversations about Indigenous life in Canada.
To select the title, press the play stop key near the bottom of the player. It's an orange square with a circular indent in the middle.
Longer rely on the institutions to tell them the truth. The truth must come from culture and art. John Trudell.
To pause the book, press play start.
So if you can see, this is a great, it has a lot of, all the features of the player are being spoken out loud. The buttons are clearly labeled, and these are all features that are conceived especially so that to make the experience as accessible as possible for users with print disabilities. I will now pass it on to John to discuss reading in Braille.
Thank you, Iwana.
Turn on.
I'm an accessibility expert with NELS, and I'm going to discuss reading with Braille displays. And I'll preface this by saying that there are 2 displays in this demonstration, a single and a multi-line. And the multi-line is quite new, and I'm still kind of getting familiar with all of its capabilities. And so that's I'm more familiar with the single line at this point, but we will play a demonstration and then I'll be back with some final comments at the end. Many displays have built-in reading applications. This is a convenient way to read supported book formats. For example, EPUB, which is a mainstream ebook format, and BRF, which contains electronic Braille. Navigation possibilities depend on the format and features offered by the display's reading application. An alternative is to connect the display to a computer or mobile device and read using a supported screen reader. Reading using the built-in application is simpler because it doesn't have the complexity of a screen reader and its interaction with the reading app on the device. It is easy to scroll forward through the book regardless of screen boundaries. In comparison, there may be different navigation options available in an app, or the way text is made available to a screen reader may be different. For example, indication of heading levels by a screen reader may differ depending on the reading app. You may also be able to read the text from formats not supported directly on the display. I'm going to give a quick demonstration of 2 Braille displays. For these demonstrations, the book I'll be using is Popular Wildflowers of the Canadian Prairies by Neil L. Jennings. The first display is the Monarch. The Monarch is a multi-line display that can display 32 characters per line in up to 10 lines of Braille. The Braille display portion takes up the majority of the front face, with the Braille keyboard below the display. I have a book loaded on the device, and I'm focused on the beginning of the introduction. Once I have read the first set of lines, I can pan down using the pan down button to show the next set of lines. I can then continue reading. Using buttons that are just below the display, I can change the number of lines. I will change to 8 lines instead of 10. There's more space between the lines. Some comments about the Monarch. It also offers the possibility to display graphics, but there is limited content available at this time. The included tactile image library offers the possibility to explore a variety of images. For reading longer amounts of text, the multi-line Braille allows reading more text with less need to pan the display. And some of the challenges are that the display takes about a second to refresh. I found it challenging to use with a screen reader for navigation because of the frequent refreshing when navigating a user interface or web page. Screen reader support is still in development. The second display is the Mantis Q40. The Mantis Q40 is a single-line 40-cell Braille display. It has a QWERTY keyboard, which is similar to that found on a laptop. The keyboard is above the single line of Braille, which is across the bottom. There are cursor routing keys above the line of Braille. I am reading a book that I have loaded on the device. I can pan to the next line of characters using one of the buttons found on the front of the display. Using other buttons on the front of the display, I can move by elements like lines or headings. Some comments on the Mantis. The Mantis refreshes much quicker, which is nicer for screen reader navigation, but it doesn't display as much text at a time. I'm still more used to the feel of the dots on the Mantis. I find them crisper than the Monarch, but both are readable. The Mantis is lighter and more portable. And just some final comments. The cost of these, the Mantis, the Monarch, the multi-line one is more expensive, and this technology is still quite new and still being developed. And now I will pass it on to Melody. We have a recording by one of our, another of our accessibility experts.
Hello, my name is Melody, and I've been with NELS since 2022. Today, I would like to share what reading is like as a STEM student, some of the technologies I cannot live without, and the reading challenges I faced throughout my school life. As a lifelong screen reader user, an ideal textbook would contain proper heading structures.
1.5 exponential and logarithmic functions heading level 1. Main landmark clickable 1.5 exponential and logarithmic functions heading level 2. Learning objectives heading level 3.
Tables and lists with logical reading order.
List with 7 items 1, 5. 1. Identify the form of an exponential function. 1, 5, 2 explain 1, 5, 3 rec 1, 5, 1, 5, 5 explain the relationship between exponential and logarithmic function.
Descriptive alt text for graphs and images.
Figure per click to enlarge image of an image of a graph. The x-axis runs from -10 to 10 and the y-axis runs from 0 to 50. The graph is of two functions. The first function is y equals x squared, which is a parabola. The function decreases until it hits the origin and then begins increasing. The second function is y equals 2 to the power of x, which starts slightly above the x-axis and begins increasing very rapidly, more rapidly than the first function button.
And clear labels for links and references.
View table 1.11 same page link. Go to population balance link.
I'd use a combination of speech, which could help me read faster.
Figure click to enlarge image of an image of a graph. The x-axis runs from 3 to 3 and the y-axis runs from 0 to 4. The graph's 4 functions. First function is f, x equals 2 to the 1 over x, an increasing curve function, which starts slightly above the x-axis and begins increasing. Second function is f, x equals 4 to the power of x, an increasing curve function, which starts slightly above the x-axis and begins increasing rapidly, more rapidly than the first function. The third function is f, x equals 1/2 to the power of x, increasing curve function decreases until it gets close to the x-axis, stop touching it. The third function is f, x equals 1/4 to the power of x, increasing curve function decreases until it gets close to the x-axis, stop touching it. It decreases at a faster rate than the third function.
And Braille, which provide precision for math, coding, and spelling. This is also a great textbook because I can quickly move through the table of content.
1.5 exponential and logarithmic functions heading level 1. Click to open the table of contents button collapse. Table of contents navigation landmark. Table of contents 1 functions and graphs not selected expanded 2 of 12 level 1. Level 2 introduction not selected 1 of 7. 1.1 review of functions not selected 2 of 7 level 1.2 basic classes of functions not selected 3 of 7 level 2. Loaded page 1.2 basic classes of functions. Calculus volume 1 open stat.
While most of my studying is done on my computer, not having to stare at a screen also makes last-minute reading on the road possible. Importing books and notes onto my phone to read on the bus helped me pass some exam. Unfortunately, textbooks are like a box of chocolate. You never know what format the next one is gonna come in. Proprietary apps, scanned PDFs, and technical diagrams lost in transcriptions can make reading difficult or even impossible. Take the PDF version of the same textbook, for example. Locating a section without the headings marked becomes much more time-consuming.
No next heading. Out of region page. Option at visited link HTTPS. If you non download, visit. If you not follow, download for free at if visit trade name and write 978. Out of nonprofit at OpenStack. See every dot the blank. Same page link 1.2 basic classes of functions dot.
Instead of focusing on learning, I have to figure out how to access the content.
Excellent. So that was Melody's. We will have the high-speed screen reader text available in the transcript of this recording. It just didn't, we couldn't add it to the captions for this demo. And next up, we have Jill.
Hi, so I'm Jill. I'm also an accessibility expert with NELS, and today I'm going to share a bit of my personal reading journey with you guys. Pardon me. So, the point of me sharing my accessible reading journey is to share that not everyone's reading journey is the same, and that's okay. So, my love of reading and additionally my education and career in publishing is rather unique. I didn't have the typical journey most of my peers did who love reading or subsequently have a career in publishing. And it's all because of my vision loss. So I was born 3 months premature, which caused me to develop a condition called retinopathy of prematurity. So I've always been fully blind in my left eye and was low vision in my right. I had poor depth perception, extremely light sensitive, had nystagmus, and could only read large print, all of which made it very difficult for me to read. Because I was like, sorry, because I was light sensitive, ironically, I could only read with bright light, but it made it very painful at times to read. The nystagmus made the words kind of jump around on the page, which made it hard to focus. And only being able to read large print put a lot of strain on my eye because it was doing the work of both eyes. So, all of this to say made me hate reading, which I know is shocking. And because I was considered to be two-sighted, I was not introduced to alternative types of reading, such as Braille or books on CD, which would have made it so much easier to read in school. Pardon me. So after I lost my remaining vision due to complications of my condition, I felt like I lost a lot of my interests and hobbies. But then came along my wonderful auntie who introduced me to the Kindle e-reader. And since I couldn't really do my previous interests, I figured why not give it a shot. So since I didn't know any other alternative types of reading, I decided to play around with the Kindle. So my mom would download a book on Kindle, and then I would just simply hit play and pause to activate the text to speech. It wasn't very independent for a teenager, but we made the best of what we had. And ironically, I fell in love with reading, which was something I never thought would be possible. So thanks to assistive tech, I was able to read Kindle using a text-to-speech. So if you could play that demo, please. Library section.
Tab bar. Selected. Library.
And I'm going to open the book titled The Serpent and the Wings of Night.
The Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Double tap.
The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Kindle. Chapter 1.
Now I'm going to double tap anywhere on the screen to open the Book Actions menu.
Kindle. Book Actions menu.
And I'm going to find Assistive Reader.
Assistive Reader. Heading. 11 hours. 31 minutes left in book. Speed. 1 times. Button. Rewind 30 seconds. Button. Play. Button.
So I'm going to double tap on play and Assistive Reader will begin reading the book.
Pause. Chapter 1. It started as practice. Just a little game. A little exercise. Something I needed to prove to myself. I wasn't sure when it had evolved into sport. My shameful.
And I can double tap anywhere on the screen to pause the Assistive Reader. So now that I've fallen in love with reading and connected with visually impaired friends who introduced me to other types of assistive tech for reading, honestly, you couldn't stop me now if you tried. So, audiobooks are honestly my number one choice because I love having the human voice read you a book. Especially, you can't beat the emotions and inflections that the narrator inflicts into the book. I also found that I focus a lot better when I'm being read to. And it reminded me a lot of when my grandma would read to me and my family when we were kids. I do also use ebooks, though, mostly for textbooks and when I was going through university, because I was able to navigate through the pages to find quotes and information that I would need to cite a paper, for example. And I found that a lot of the textbooks I needed were only available in ebook format. So I'm going to play you another quick demo of an audiobook app called Everend that is my number one choice for listening to audio. So if you could play that one, please. I'm going to swipe down until I find the book I want, which is titled Rise of the Dragons.
Rise of the Dragons. Kings at 0%. If you thought that, continue listening button.
I'm going to double tap on continue listening.
Dismiss button. Share button.
And swipe down until I hit play.
Player Rise of the loading zeros. Jump to previous. Skip backward. Play button.
And double tap.
Play dim.
Cutting out the rest of the world. A gale of wind. The sound of a distant crow. And forced herself see only the skinny birch tree far off. Stark.
And I can simply do a 2-finger double tap to play or pause the audiobook. So there's a wide range of genres that I'm interested in, mostly fiction, including historical fiction, romance, dystopian, mystery, thriller, suspense, etc. So now that my love of reading was fully established, I decided that I wanted a career in publishing. So I did some research and found at the university, Simon Fraser University, that they offered programs both as a minor and as a master's program. So I did both and focused my master's thesis on accessible publishing after struggling to make an internship accessible. So now that I have the education under my belt, I obviously was looking for a job. I've done some freelance work in accessible publishing as an authenticity reader. And I finally landed the job with Nels, which has been awesome. And with my future goals wanting to be either in audiobook production or as a literary agent. So my experience as a low vision reader, a fully blind reader, and having the education in publishing, I find I'm very passionate about accessible publishing and find that there are a few things I look for when it comes to accessible reading. Such things as, is the reading app or website compatible with a screen reader or other assistive tech? How easy is it to navigate through the website or app? Are there multiple formats offered? How easy is it to find the book once you purchased or downloaded it to your preferred device? Has the app or website itself been reviewed for accessibility? Is there a wide range of genres offered? And is there enough information provided about the book? So now it's hopefully it's more clear through my experience as a low vision reader, fully blind reader, and having the publishing education, that everyone's reading journey is unique. It is not linear, and that's the beauty of it. No matter what vision level, disability, or assistive tech you use, your reading journey is fully your own, and be proud of that. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand it off to Mike.
Thank you so much, Jill. Hi there, my name is Michael Krupp. I too am an accessibility expert with Nels, and I will be speaking to you about the Meta glasses as a tool to help you read. So take it away, me.
Hi there, my name is Michael, and today I'll be talking to you about the Meta glasses. These glasses have built-in microphones in the nose, cameras in the lenses, and at the back of the arms are a couple speakers. This actually allows me to read with the built-in AI. For example, I can take a book, and since I'm visually impaired, I really don't know what book I'm holding. So let's start with that. Hey Meta, look and read what book I'm holding.
Text on the book reads, Dan Abnett, Legion.
I can open the book. Hey Meta. Hey Meta. Look and read word for word.
The text reads, Dan Abnett. Really? What does it mean? Sonika had shrugged. I have no idea, except that it left a feeling. Bone awful, the nerve-themed shards of it. No idea. He had been still. He had Dimi Shiban, throat shaping the words, and not tell Shiban at all. The shards of bone had been polluting his friend. Corrupt.
And it's as simple as that. And if I can do that with a book, I can do that with a menu at a restaurant, my envelope or mails that I receive at home, medication bottles, or things in the kitchen that I have trouble seeing. Or I can have the Meta glasses read me digital content instead. For example, I can say, hey Meta, play Audible.
Now comes the hard part. Gray prepared his team in the seconds before the elevator doors opened. He expected another layer of security beyond a fingerprint-coated elevator.
Hey Meta,
The guild
stop.
was much.
I can also have Meta play Audible titles I haven't even read yet. For example, hey Meta, play Dogs of War by Adrian Tchaikovsky on Audible.
This is Audible. Bloomsbury presents Dogs of War by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Read by Nathan Osgood, Lawrence Bouvard, and William Hub.
Hey Meta, stop. And you do have a few controls at your disposal when using the Meta glasses with Audible. You can play, pause, or stop. You can fast forward or rewind. And you can skip forward or go back to your previous chapter. All by the power of your voice. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. That is the end of the user demonstration presentations.